This is a guqin, an ancient Chinese instrument, and also a companion with me on a lot of long nights. Okay, so the guqin piece that you guys just heard is called Guanshan Yue, based on a poem by a poet in China called Li Bai. It describes about a soldier who looks at the country's border in a battlefield, and his face is full of the sadness of missing home and family. But today here, I would like it to carry another meaning. Maybe it's not just about parting away from some place or someone, but parting away from the fear that keep us from seeing what's real. My name is Luke, a grade 11 student at TEDxNAIS, and I believe that to truly understand life, we need to learn how to sit with death. We all know death is unavoidable, right? But why does it feel like a stranger? And what if I told you that maybe actually getting closer to death can help us live better? Let me explain it. Well, I do remember my first time seeing a corpse when I was 16 years old at my family's traditional memorial ritual. It was for my great-grandpa, the guy in the picture. And in our hometown, there is a tradition where the youngest family member, that's me, needs to prepare for the final viewing of the dead. Then I walked into the sterile preparation room. There he was under a white sheet. Then I slowly pulled back the sheet. Wow, his face, he just looked completely gone. The sunken eye and the pale skin, almost the most sad thing I'd ever seen. And for the first time, I truly understood what it meant to be gone. And this feeling was so intense and raw. That's something my society, your society as well, really keep us locked away. Technically, it wasn't the first corpse I'd ever seen. When I was in primary school, I went to a relative's funeral in Wenzhou, a city in Fujian province, and the demon's body just looked all waxy and puffy, with his crazy pink lipstick. Probably not the color he would have chosen. So, fast forward to my great-grandpa's ceremony. Finally, a body I could handle. My job is to shave his beard. In our tradition, shaving the beard means cutting the ties of the world. It's so, the dead can peacefully move on. Turns out, it was just like shaving your legs. Lots of scream, short strokes, and take it slow. Since then, I've researched other Chinese funeral customs across Southeast China. But what I found weird about my tradition is actually nothing compared to other cultures. For example, last winter in Fujian's mountain, I met a family keeping their grandma's dead body at home for more than 1 year. But thanks to the preservation her family did, she looked like she had only been dead for a few weeks. Every morning, her family members dressed her up and tucked her into bed at night. Even the very same bed she now shares with her living brothers. And honestly, I was even allowed to bring her some snacks, which I did. So, for people in these villages, it's not weird to have a dead relatives at home at all. And they believe that if you speak to the dead would hear you. If you offer the food, the dead would appreciate it. It's just normal for them. It makes me wonder that this kind of connection with death might be the reason for why the tradition, like what my family did and the family from Fujian did, has lasted for centuries. Well, I still remember when I shared my experience with my great-grandpa's corpse in a summer program at UC Berkeley. And the boy from the United States was like, "Hey, dude, you really played the dead body like a doll? That freaks me out." Well, what surprised me is how fast a culture can change within a century. Just within a century, our entire death care system has been outsourced and erased in many regions across both the East and West. In the America, the visual, a period watch, often held before a funeral to honor the deceased, has a long history, even way before the apple pie and baseball. In places like Jamaica and Haiti, visuals are more lively affairs, singing, dancing, drumming, and even playing games like limbo. But when something so important is reduced to something like playing the dead body like a doll. Well, in today's society, we even shy away from death. But I'm not gonna say that we need to bring mummies back into our homes to fix our broken relationship with the dead. Just before the death care became a professional field, we were much closer to death than we are now. Just in a century, the death care moved from families to professionals. And with that kind of shift came along some ridiculous myths. Myths that, if you ask me, are just absurd. First, some people think the dead bodies are not safe. But unless, say, your great-grandma is died from something highly contagious, like Ebola, which I'm pretty sure she didn't, you're totally fine being around her. Second, the funeral director would take that body immediately. That's not true either. Listen, death is not an emergency. You can take your time, hold their hand, and tell stories. If you feel comfortable, you can even wash the body for them. Well, breaking through this myth is not easy. The funeral industry is a billion-dollar business, and they don't want us to regain control over death. But my great-grandpa's body have changed me. He brought me closer to my own mortality and mortality of everyone I love. So, one day, you'll lose someone you love, whether it's your parents, partners, or pets. The decision of how to deal with dead bodies will be entirely yours. But I hope you are consider being involved. The people who've experienced this feel empowered. Yes, outsourced death saves a lot of money in a society where the funeral costs are outrageous. But more importantly, it changes how we grieve. Death is not just an end. It's a bridge between the past and the present, a bridge between grief and healing. And our ancestor knows this. Maybe it's time for us to rediscover it. Thank you for listening.